What's going on, people? Come on in. Invite your followers. Invite your followers. Invite all the people that you know. Share this. Share this out. Share this. Host some watch parties. Let's go. Man, this is a tough time. It's a tough time, y'all. Tough time. Tough time. This is what's going on in the world. This is what Black America feels right now. This is what we feeling right now. Demonstrations going on all across the country. Welcome to Gabbin with the Guilders. I'm E.
I'm Nina.
This is your favorite podcast of your favorite married couple. We're just here today with heavy hearts.
Yeah.
Real heavy right now, man.
Very heavy.
Hearts are heavy. We're really emotional.
Yeah.
But we still trust and believe God. If you want to get up with us, hit us on our Facebook. You see it on the screen. Facebook, Gabbin with the Guilders. Instagram, Gabbin Guilders. Twitter, Gabbin Guilders. You can email us your questions, comments, concerns. GabbinGuilders@gmail.com. And if you want to support the podcast, you can cash app us at $ Gabbin Guilders.
Listen, anybody that's on our watch parties, on our personal pages, I would ask that you move over to Gabbin with the Guilders Facebook page so that you can be a part of the conversation.
Yeah, you can come gab with us.
And you can come gab with us.
And look, man, listen, we got the call-in number because a lot of people are feeling certain type of ways, and a lot of people are. Look, you're feeling a lot right now. We're really emotional, and we want to be a place of support. You know, we want to be a safe place where you can get your feelings out, get your comments out, get your concerns out. I'm not saying that we're going to have answers to questions, but at least what we can do is give you a listening ear.
Yeah.
Your voice,
sure.
Your voice should be heard. I put on my Facebook page, and you can probably see it on the Gabbin with the Guilders page. A quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He said, "A riot is the language of the unheard. A riot is the language of the unheard.
And a riot is the language of the unheard."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
That's what the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said.
Yeah.
And what I said under it is Black America has been unheard.
Definitely been unheard.
And that's what I quoted. Black America has been unheard. And we have so much to talk about today. And I really want us to get involved in this conversation.
Yeah.
About it.
Why don't we talk about what happened this week? Let's do a recap. Well, sound good?
Oh, just this week?
Yeah.
Or what's been brewing. I mean,
what's been happening this week in Black America.
Yeah, I mean,
let's do a recap.
Well, let's go further than that because we got Ahmaud Arbery, right?
Yeah.
You know, that
happened.
That happened.
What, February?
Yeah, and it was
the very end of February, and nothing came about it. No one even heard about it until what, April?
Yeah.
Like almost 2 months later.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the people that killed him, the white men that killed him, murdered him.
They murdered that man.
Was sitting around in their houses, walking around free, going about their daily lives as if nothing had ever happened. And, you know, I think I said to you this week, like, I don't know how his mother and his family members or friends were able to contain themselves for over a month and a half.
Yeah.
Everybody in the world would have known that my son was murdered.
Yeah.
For jogging. And guess what? I don't care that he walked into an open construction house, because that's what it was. Let's just be clear.
Who cares about
it was a house under construction.
And people go
there
to
was
those
no
houses.
Front door. There was no back door.
Right.
It was a shell of a house
Right.
with equipment inside of it. He walked in.
Right.
He was found on camera. He walked back out.
Yeah.
And they chased him and they surrounded him with 2 trucks like a wild animal in a neighborhood on a street, a public street,
Yeah.
and shot and killed him.
Yeah, they did.
That's what they did. And then the man
Who videoed
it had a nerve to go on a news broadcast and talk about how his life has been turned upside down. You're lucky your life was turned upside down.
And that's it.
So now he's been arrested.
And he should be.
And he should be. And they should all rot in jail.
For the rest of their lives.
Yes. Because guess what? The death penalty is too easy.
Yeah, it's way too easy. For me, I think they need to start treating these people these killers of black men. They need to start treating them like the people who they feel like are people like the Rico and like El Chapo when they go to that place in Colorado, that Supermax.
Yeah.
And they're in solitary confinement for 23 hours.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they see nobody. Mm-hmm. They only can talk to like 1 or 2 people for the rest of their lives. They need to sit there.
And you know, the crazy thing is that everything that we've heard about.
Yeah.
So we talk about what has just happened over the last couple months. And mind you, everyone, please remember, we are still in the midst of COVID-19.
That's what's even more.
We are in the trenches
of COVID-19.
And
we're going to talk about that too.
We're in the trenches of it. Okay. All of this reopening the states and allowing people to get back to work
in church
and so on and so forth,
into their buildings,
in church, into their buildings, their places of worship. Okay.
It's just too much.
You cannot forget that COVID is still a real thing. There is no cure.
No cure.
Okay. There is no medicine.
No.
There's nothing that's been developed to help you become immune to it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we need to become immune to it.
Yes.
We need to be able to say, I took a pill or I got a shot and I will not have coronavirus.
Yeah, I mean, and even when it comes to vaccines, it's like, you know, people get the flu shot and they still get the flu and people die from it.
That's right.
You know, so
there's people walking around with walking pneumonia and they die from it.
They die from it. What's up, Kenshin, man? Praying for you, man. You and your family.
So, you know, we have to remember that we still need to be safe.
We need to be safe.
Because the thing about what I don't even know where to start. It's so many things running through my mind and so many things that I want to say. But I want to give everybody the opportunity. If you want to call in, please, our number is on the screen, 302-469-3311.
Yeah.
If you need to vent, if you want to have your voice heard, please call in. Please call in. We are actively taking calls. We want to hear your stories. We want to hear what you all have been talking about with your families and your children.
Yeah, how to get through
it. How to get through it.
What are some tools that you're using to get through this?
Yeah,
because we need to know.
Yeah, please call in.
It's tough.
Please call
it's
in.
really
because
tough.
here's the bigger picture. This is not the first George Floyd. This is not the first Ahmaud Arbery.
No.
You know,
we got Trayvon Martin.
But I mean, we can go farther back than that. We can go to people that were killed in very small cities that aren't on the map, so to speak.
Yeah, like my boy Payment that I played 2K with, he was talking about how his cousin got hanged and he got mutilated.
They hung him.
He's from Mississippi, like one of those towns in the Delta. Down in the Delta. It never got news.
But listen, the thing about it is those southern states, this is some normal crap, y'all. This stuff happens all the time.
And you know, honestly,
and they're never going to talk about it because they don't care.
And it's normal for up north too.
Yeah,
it's normal up here.
That's true.
People are getting beat up by police.
That's true.
In Dover, Delaware, where we are at right now, people have been getting beat up and getting hurt by police.
Listen.
In Wilmington, Delaware, right now, where they're
they are having a protest, peaceful protest.
They are having a peaceful protest.
Yes, they are.
And right now, I know somebody named Jordan Hines. He's videoing it. That well, it wasn't footage, but that what you heard was from one of his lives.
Mm-hmm.
It literally was going on at that moment, and they're having peaceful protest right there in Wilmington,
Right here in Wilmington. Yeah.
and I just believe we were talking about this. We felt like every state should be having a peaceful protest right now.
Yeah. Every state, every city, you know, if you can organize it, you should do it.
Yeah, we need peaceful protests.
We need it,
and we need to. And there are a lot of things that we need to do as far as organization and how we get past this and what we need to do.
Yeah. So,
where are we starting at?
Okay, let's just start with George Floyd.
Okay, let's go.
I mean, I think what I'll do is do the recap at the end of the show because so much has happened this week.
It has.
But I want us to stay focused on what the big big picture is. And so as you all should have heard by now, Black man George Floyd was in his city of Minneapolis, Minnesota. He went into a store and the attendant there called the cops on him because he thought that he was trying to give him a counterfeit $10 or $20 bill. I've heard a couple of different stories.
Somebody said forgery.
I mean, originally it started out with forgery. So when you think of forgery,
first we heard about a check.
That's what I'm saying. Forgery. Right. So when you think of forgery, you think of writing a bad check.
Yeah.
That's what we all know forgery to be.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, few days went by, it turned into, it was a counterfeit $10 bill. First I heard a $20 bill. Now we're hearing a $10 bill. But regardless of that, the man was detained by 3 white police officers and 1 Asian officer were on the scene. They asked him to get out of his car. He complied. Or he was, first we heard he was inside the car. Then I heard he was sitting on the roof of the car. So we don't know which story is right. However, as you can see, the video that was released from the camera on the side from the store on the sidewalk, he complied. He was walked up to the sidewalk, placed against the building, and handcuffed.
Yeah.
That's all we saw.
That's all we know.
The next thing that we saw were bystanders standing on the sidewalk while he was being pinned down in the street.
Arms were already behind his back.
Already handcuffed.
Right.
He was pinned to the police car up against the tire, a back tire. And there were 3 police officers kneeling on his body.
That's what they were doing.
And this white police officer, what is his name? Derek Chavez?
Chavez,
whatever his name is. He is the one that had his knee on his neck. Now, if any of you had the stomach enough to look at the video, you could see how every time George tried to move his body a certain way, as he was begging for his life.
The whole time.
The entire time. He was foaming at the mouth.
Yeah.
We can't see it on the video. However, the bystanders were saying that there was blood coming out of his nose.
Yeah, and he said his face was pinned up. It was all on.
It was pinned to the ground. There was no way that he could move. This officer, if that's what you want to call him,
that murderer. He's not an officer. He's a murderer.
Yes, he's a murderer. This murderer continued to apply more and more pressure. And more pressure. If you watch his body language, you will see how he continued to dig deeper into his neck with his knee to the point where he moved his foot, where his foot was like bent. You know how you are trying to, you're bending your foot ready to run off or to try some type of pressure. So anyway, and he had his hand in his pocket the entire time, only to find out when the pedestrians started to make a ruckus and say, hey, you need to let this man go.
Right.
He then pulled out mace out of his pocket.
To try to mace the crowd.
So he was going to mace whoever was going to come up to them. And this Asian officer, who we have now found out is actually his brother-in-law. Did you know that? Yeah, the Asian officer that was there trying to not only block the video and block the bystanders and did not say
Wow, look at
anything
that.
to him.
Do you see what Josh just put?
They confirmed the $20 bill wasn't even fake. So technically, you blame the person who called the cops and the actual police officers who killed him. Yeah,
Unbelievable.
they're all guilty. All of them. All of them. They're all guilty. All of them. But this Asian police officer turned around several times as the crowd grew and was yelling at him, saying to him, why don't you tell him to get off of him? He cannot breathe. He's saying, I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
And the man that was talking about the guy who was defending, he's like, yo, I train with these guys. I'm a he does jujitsu.
Right.
He says, I know these holds. I know this stuff. I train with these guys. He's like, they all punks and they all suckers. That's basically what he said.
Man,
and he was like, yo, he can't stand that. His body can't take that.
This is what really, really got me. This is how you know that that murderer could not care a bit about this man's life. The EMT arrived. They walked up to him, put their fingers on his neck to try to find a pulse.
Knew he was dead.
Walked away, and the murderer still had his knee
on his neck
the entire time until they came over with a stretcher. Then, if you watch that part, they literally picked him up like he was a rag doll and threw him. That's how I feel. It looks like to me, y'all just scooped him up and just threw him onto the stretcher.
Yeah.
And you left the handcuffs on him.
Left him.
And he was gray. I mean, we literally watched the spirit and the breath be pulled out of his body. I mean, it just went, it was gone. And then he walks around like he did nothing wrong.
I mean, absolutely nothing. Him and his brother-in-law.
Yo,
it was disgusting. To say the
all
least.
I've been saying is disgusting, and I just don't even know what else to say. I have no other word. Please, somebody call in if you want to call in.
If you want to call in,
come on, call in 302-469-3311. We want to hear your comments. We want to hear your stories, what you have to say,
and your added commentary to this.
Come on, y'all.
And then
it's time to speak up. And see, I think that's what my problem is. My problem is that we as Black America have sat by too long and not said anything.
Well, I think we do talk, but when we do try to talk, we're if one person stands up for something, we literally get shut down.
When I say that we have not talked and we have not said anything, we have not been unified.
This is true.
Because I have watched Black pastors
not say anything.
I have watched Black pastors say something on their social media pages, and it sounds like white supremacy mentality.
Oh yeah, because
when do you stand up for Black people? Period.
I'm gonna tell you why. Nat Turner was a preacher for the white man to keep them in order. We got a call. We got a caller. Okay, hold on. We got a caller. You on with Gabbin with the Guilders. Oh, hold on one second. You're on with Gabbin with the Guilders.
What's your name and where you calling from?
It's Tasha, and I'm calling from Delaware. And I'm very close with you guys. And my concern today was, I've been really quiet for a long time, and you folks know me from a personal perspective, and having had a brother killed here in Delaware, Newcastle County, years ago, regarding Delaware's use of deadly force policy and the restrictions behind that and what they're allowed to do and not able to disclose to the public, became very critical during the year that he was murdered. His name is Eric Joaquin Turnbull. And I wanted to send a message to the Black Eric Joaquin Turnbull.
Okay.
Turnbull.
Mm-hmm.
And we marched and we protested. And, people look at TV and they never understand the magnitude of what Black families go through. And I will say this, to the family of George Floyd and other families that are out there, if we were to take a poll today, how divided those families have become because of things like this, because we don't support one another.
That's right.
Is why a lot of times these things get swept under the rug, because we don't fight for each other the way we should.
That's right, Tasha. That's right.
You know, I'm speaking from the perspective of a family that is currently divided in itself because of this situation and some other things.
Wow.
And I will say this, the policing community, when they say it's a brotherhood,
it is
a union,
it is
a cult,
a fraternity,
it's a gang. It's a gang.
It's a gang.
A fraternity.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
You know, from the moment, that night, that day that we experienced what we experienced, and like I said, I was sitting in that office with my aunt being pregnant and not offering any condolences to her, not saying, hey, you know, we're sorry for your loss, but where was he going? What was he doing? And the paper, the very first article that was posted, it said that they made him to be a vigilante and that he was in a tidy community. It's worded just like that. He was in a tidy community. But what they never realized is that he actually was a resident of the tidy community.
Get the heck out of here.
So you have to, when I say to people, you need to learn to control the narrative, is that you have to speak up for your people.
Yeah.
And we don't do that for one another. And because of that, we are so divided. So no matter, I say to the community of the Black people, is regardless of the history, the charges of the person or the individual who's murdered, step up and speak out. Just because an individual may have a record or they may have something going on in their past life, it doesn't have to result in death.
That's right.
And people will look at things, and I say that because you have to understand, like I said, the police community is a cult, a brotherhood, a fraternity.
It's a gang,
every
man.
time, and this is what we experience. And people don't get to tell the story. Before the newspaper would write an article, because they knew that we had an agenda to possibly get an attorney, they would call us on speakerphone and tell us what they were going to put in the paper. They were controlling the narrative.
Yes.
So
yes,
they build the character of the person who's dead.
That's right.
Tell your own story.
That's right.
Fight.
That's right.
Don't stop.
Wow.
That's right. That's
Don't
right.
stop. They deserve. We bow out and we shamefully walk away from things. You can't stop.
Can't stop. You can't stop.
And I'm going to say that even our pastors, some of our congressmen, even some of those will walk away because of fear of what will happen to their reputation.
Yep, they're coons.
Gotta keep pushing.
Let's call them what they are.
They're coons.
I know that there's, I know some people don't like that term, and I know that there's other,
news
news platforms that say, hey, we don't call each other names, but let's just call it what it is, because the problem is that we're not speaking the truth. When you start speaking the truth,
absolutely,
then people will be held accountable
for their actions.
Maybe I need to offend you,
for you
Black
to get
people,
for you to get
for you to get it. Because you're too worried about going and sitting out in front of a Nike store for some stupid Jordans that's going to cost you half of the paycheck that you earned that day.
This is your brother right here, and I believe this is his daughter. Eric and his daughter. Eric and his daughter.
I always call him brother because my mother helped raise him. He spent a lot of his life with me.
Wow.
So when throughout life,
Tasha,
him and I, and in fact, in his death, most people would always say, hey, they didn't even know I was not his biological sister until he died.
Tasha, that's your brother.
We didn't even know.
That's your brother.
So,
period.
He's my, that's my brother.
That's your brother.
I love him. And it's just,
up on the screen for you.
Like I said, people don't understand what it does to people.
Oh, wow.
But I'll tell people all the time, you'll never know until you're there. And the night he was killed, I posted the news conference that my aunt was in. She didn't even get to identify her son. They removed his body from the police, from the hospital before she got there.
What? Yo, somebody just put in the comment. Somebody just put in the comments. They was like, one of my friends. He said he remembers that. They tried to cover that murder up. So.
Yeah, They did.
Because he's
when my aunt
from
went
Newcastle.
to finally see him, they had his hands in his hands bagged as if he had shot a gun, and he had no weapons on him.
Oh my God.
They said he ran police cars, and the first thing people called out when they said the picture in the paper with the car had ran into a shed because they shot him, and that's why the car jerked forward and it took off because he lost control of the car. He was bleeding out, and there was no damage on the vehicle.
Oh my God.
We had several witnesses. We had folks write letters. We had a young man whom I'm not able to disclose his name, who went to the Attorney General and said he actually was there. He stood behind a concrete wall and saw the whole thing. And Delaware, Newcastle Attorney General refused to file the charges. And I will tell you this, It is 2020 and they have still not disclosed the officers' names that were involved in my cousin's murder.
Wow. 10 years later.
They refused to give us the redact report with their names.
Unbelievable.
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 It's real and it's ripe and it hurts.
Yeah.
And that's why I say people will say we bleed the same color, but you'll never know the pain until you have to bury your loved one and you don't have any answers for their children.
That's right.
You said that.
Tasha, thank you so much for calling in and giving us
You're
your
welcome.
story. We are absolutely praying for you and your family, of course. You know, we're here whenever you need us. But thank you for calling in. We appreciate you. Love you.
You're welcome. Thank you for that. Love you too. Bye-bye.
Good.
Listen, y'all. I don't know if any of you all could hear the pain in Tasha's voice. And the thing about it is that when we get back to a point where it does not matter if they are your blood relative or not, but when we get back to a point where it's about what's right
and what's wrong
and what is wrong, that's when there'll be some justice. And for those of you that are out there talking about Black people shouldn't be burning their communities and rioting and looting and all this, let me bring you all in on something. One, the people that started the looting in Minneapolis happened to be white. They were busting the windows of the various store locations.
Well, they don't put that on TV.
There's a video.
They don't show the white people that are looting.
Right. There's a video, but see, they don't put that on national TV.
No.
You have to find that stuff on social media.
From somebody's phone.
On social media from a social media platform that someone else shared. So I grabbed it and started sharing it on my page. They said that it was an undercover white cop who had on a gas mask. And I watched the video. The video was of a white male had on all black with a black gas mask and a hoodie on. The hood was pulled over his head and he was bashing the windows of an AutoZone. Yeah. And a black man walked up to him and said, "What are you doing? Like, why are you doing this?" And he stood and looked at him and you could tell that he smirked. He walked away and started breaking up other stuff. Then it flashed to another piece of a video where it was white men who had wooden crates in front of them started fires. They were starting the fires. Then today when I woke up, I saw pictures of looters. And guess what they were?
Wasn't black.
They were all white. Now, I'm not saying that to say that Black people didn't take part in any of it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that, you know how the president has been on this tirade for the last 4 years about how there's fake news? See, he uses it to his advantage because he wants to win an election and he wants to be in power. If anybody knows anything about Donald Trump, and if you followed him at all when he was in entertainment, you will know that he is a man that enjoys power.
He enjoys it.
He enjoys it.
He lives for it.
He became president of the United States because of power. Yeah. And he could do what he wanted to do and run amok. So when he says that there's fake news, he's 50% correct. Okay? Because some of the dumb stuff that he does ain't fake news.
Well, he does. Fake news is real. That's 100%.
Fake news is real.
That's 100% correct.
But he uses it to his advantage.
How he uses it,
yes,
to his advantage,
is so that he will get reelected or would have gotten elected, right? And some of us were dumb enough
to vote for him.
Yes,
they were.
Okay. But the thing about it is what we have to realize is that the stuff that's being portrayed in the media and what is actually happening in those cities that are being directly affected by these murders is a lot of it is being started by white people. And why? Because they want us to continue to be divided.
Yes, they do.
They want us to continue to fight each other and say, oh, these stupid black people out here looting their own communities. Well, first of all, who owns anything in those communities that's black?
So I put that on Facebook. I put that up on Facebook, and I literally said, I said, it's really crazy to me that black people are coming at black people saying that these people are burning down and looting their own communities. And one of my friends, his name is Doc. We call him Doc. His name is Julius Brumbury.
Mm-hmm.
We had a dialogue on the post, and me,
it was good.
It was a good dialogue.
It was good, yeah.
And he literally went live, and we went on live, and we had differences of opinion, but we did it peacefully. We didn't argue.
Yeah, it was respectful.
It was respectful. We're boys.
Yeah. But see, that's maturity, though.
Yeah. And I literally said, I told him, I said, listen, bro, low income housing, we don't own that.
We don't own it.
Those stores like Target that come into our neighborhoods, all those Dollar Trees,
we don't own those.
And what about the like we call them the poppy stores? Those stores of people who are not of our community.
That's right.
That come in and suck our community dry.
Yeah.
How much is a gallon of milk regularly?
Well, before Corona.
Well, I'm just saying, like, how much is the average gallon of milk today? Like,
it's like almost $4, $3 something
right now,
maybe $4.
You'll go to that store and gallon of milk could be $6 or $7,
and you'll buy it.
And you have to buy it because there's nowhere.
Where else are you gonna go?
I mean, those people they're burning down. They live in the middle of food deserts. Some of those places,
yes.
And black people don't own anything in some of those communities. Now, let me be clear and let me add balance to this. There are some places that were burned down that were nonprofits. Yes. There were some places that burned down that do service the community. Mm-hmm. But the reality of it is, I mean, there are always casualties of war.
Every war.
Of every war. And let me say this, and people saying, well, we're not at war. I believe we've been at war.
We're at war.
Black people have been at war ever since we came over to this country. So we
brought over.
Yeah, brought over to this country, and I apologize for that. I mean, we were captured and brought over to this country. All right. And here's the reality. Black people have been in race war since we were brought over here.
That's right.
And now not bigger, but and that's we're not only are we in a race war, but we're in an economic war.
Absolutely.
We're in economic war and we're in race war. And let me tell you, the people who suffer the most out of any war
are black people. Absolutely.
And the people, and it's funny that the people that have power to say things, they sit up in their beautiful, pretty houses with their they're normally the part of the 1%. Yes. They have wonderful jobs. They can afford to send their kids to not even HBCUs. They don't send them to Spelman. They don't send them to Morehouse. No, they want to send them to Harvard and all these other places. And then they donate to those places and they donate to those raggedy politicians who don't mean them any good. But you forget about that. You got a mother, a father, a sister, a brother, a cousin, an aunt, an uncle.
Yeah.
A niece, a nephew that they don't have the means that you have.
That's right.
They're not afforded the opportunities that you're able to be afforded and afford your children to. Yeah. So my thing is, and I always say that no matter how much we attain together, we can never forget where we come from, and we can never forget who we are looking to.
Yeah.
And I mean, looking in the future, because everybody is not going to have the same opportunities and have the same amount of resources that we have.
Yeah. And let me just say this. I actually have family members that are part of the police department.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I have a cousin.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And
I'm just personally not big on police officers.
Neither am I.
I don't trust any of them.
I don't particularly care for the police.
Period.
Okay. So, but I do want to say that.
And let me say that again. I want you to look at me in my face and looking at me in my eyes. I, E. Meyer, Pastor E, whatever you call me, I don't favorably look at the police because I see them do more bad in our communities than they do good. I don't see police officers coming to the black communities doing good. And let me tell you why. I'm gonna let you get back to your point.
Yeah,
Please don't forget.
I won't.
Policemen, most of the time, and I'm gonna say 99.9% of the time, when they come to our black communities, they come with agenda. You know you know what the agenda is? To turn your son, to turn your daughter, to turn your niece, to turn your nephew into a snitch.
Yeah.
And make their lives hard with the idea of saying we're trying to fight crime and keep crime out of the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
When the same system that hires those police officers brings drugs to our community and puts guns in our community.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
So this is a vicious cycle that we're fighting.
It's a vicious cycle.
And I don't care what pastor, I don't care what preacher says anything, because a lot of y'all preachers and pastors are suckers because y'all ain't saying nothing.
It's the truth.
And you talking down to black people. You talking down to the people who pay your salaries, who make your big pretty buildings look good. That pay for that Benz that you drive. And yes, I'm a pastor saying it, but I ain't no sucker, and I know where I come from.
That's right.
And everybody can tell you who knows me, I ain't no sucker. And I fool with my people and I support my people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I need some of y'all pastors to wake the heck up.
Wake up.
And quit being a sucker and quit being a coon.
Yeah.
And quit being a clown, because you clown and you in blackface for your community.
It's the truth.
And your family. So wake up.
It's the truth.
And say something on your social media page.
Say something about it.
And stop cooning out to them white folks that support you.
Yeah.
I don't care. Look, I'm to the point now where I don't care. I ain't got nothing to lose no way.
Yeah. What is there to lose?
Listen, because God gave me everything, and he'll be the one to take it from me if something does happen to me. But the reality of who me and my wife are, we don't look to the white man to supply our needs.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And let me just be clear. The point I was going to make was that I'm honestly tired of hearing this phrase, not all cops are bad. We already know that.
But the system they work in.
It's just like when you say all black people aren't bad.
Or all white people aren't bad.
White people aren't bad. I mean, that's a given. Hello?
What? Can I ask you a question?
It's a given. Why do we keep saying that? And so what I wanted to say about let me just finish what I wanted to say. I wanted to say that, yeah, we already know that. But here's the problem.
What's the problem?
The problem is that the good cops are not holding the bad cops accountable.
Never.
So if you want me to believe that there's more good cops than there are bad cops, then I need the good cops to stand up, speak out, and hold the bad cops accountable.
Stop being a sucker.
That is the only way that you're going to make any of us believe that all cops are not bad. Because then we go back to what Tasha just shared with us. She talked about her brother being brutally murdered. And 10 years later, it's still being covered up. 10 years later, these good cops are still keeping that cop who he probably, if he wasn't...
Or those officers.
Those officers. And if they're not too old to not retired already, are still policing our streets.
And still probably beating up more people.
But nobody says anything about it.
Nobody.
Did you hear her and the hurt in her voice? 10 years later, they still will not tell them who actually killed her brother. So when the good cops,
they call that blue wall of protection,
decide to come out of this so-called gang or fraternity or whatever they want to call themselves, Blue Lives Matter, how about you hold the bad cops accountable so that we all can say, you know what? Blue lives really do matter. But when is that going to happen?
When have they not mattered?
And that's the whole point.
Do people know where the first police officers come from? Let me give you a little history about police.
Come on, let's do some history. Come on.
The history of the police, they were the bounty hunters. And they found and they got slaves. They were slave catchers.
Yeah, see, y'all, what a lot of black folk don't do, I'm sorry, and I'm going to say it, we don't educate ourselves.
No.
We're worried about the next big thing. We worried about getting our nails done. We worried about getting weaves. Worried about getting sneakers. What's the latest polo?
And ain't nothing wrong with it.
And there's nothing wrong with those things. There's nothing wrong with it.
But it becomes a problem
when it becomes an idol to you and you don't educate yourself on what is happening in the world.
If you rather go get Jordans over read a book, you got a problem.
There's a problem. There's a problem. And it comes from generation after generation of people that have not instilled those things inside of the generation that we have now.
Yeah.
You have to instill it in people.
Absolutely.
It's just like when they captured us, our ancestors, excuse me, not us, because I didn't go through it. Our ancestors from Africa and brought them to a stolen land.
Everything was stolen.
Okay. They instilled a fear inside of those slaves.
Y'all need to read the book, the Willie Lynch Making of a Slave.
Come on.
How you strengthen the body, but you snatch the mind. You control the mind. And let me tell you, that generational curse has been in us from day one.
It's still there. And guess what? What's bad about it is our Black people are doing it to one another.
Yes.
That's the wake up.
Because that was
where you need to wake up.
That was a part of the system.
Yes.
And let me you know, Tasha was saying a lot about controlling narratives.
Yes.
Of our people.
Yeah.
That's why it really hurt my heart.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about I was so hurt when Roland Martin went off of TV.
Oh my God.
TV One.
We were devastated.
Because when things happen, Roland Martin would bring those people on same day or next day if he was able to. And he would try to do his best.
Yes, he did.
To control the narrative so these people won't be looked at a certain kind of way in our communities. And I mean, I need most of you. I need everybody here who can under the sound of my voice. Y'all go over and like Roland Martin's YouTube page. He's on YouTube Live and he's on Facebook Live all day, every day. Go follow Roland Martin. He keeps us hip to our news.
Yep.
And they have good commentary. You might not agree with every piece of it because I don't, but at least we have somebody that's one of us controlling the narrative.
Come on, yo. Where's the comments at? I mean, Imaya and I are just sitting here, just ranting and raving and talking about what's happening in the world. And I don't see a whole lot of comments going on. I don't see nobody really saying nothing. What are y'all feeling? Somebody call in and talk to us. The thing about our show is that you have a right to your opinion and we're going to talk about it.
Well, my sister said something in my watch party. She said Stockholm syndrome is a thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
It is. Stockholm syndrome.
It is. And you know what? I want to get back to something that I wanted to read earlier. I wanted to talk about what has happened just this week. So let's do a recap.
Okay.
Because maybe we're not getting our point across here about the racism.
The systematic racism
that is going on in America. Okay. So I found this on social media. So let's recap the week so far, shall we?
Go ahead.
Okay. Number one, a Mary, Georgia youth pastor claims Black men abducted and robbed him just to keep people from finding out he was in a hotel with a man he met on Craigslist.
What?
Yeah. A white youth pastor.
A youth pastor.
Yeah, he's white.
A youth pastor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Claimed that black men abducted him and robbed him just so that he could keep people from finding out that he was at a hotel room with a man that he met on Craigslist. He was arrested.
He should have been.
He was arrested. Number two, a Florida woman claims that two Black men kidnapped her autistic son. That was a white woman. Mm-hmm. Only to be charged with his murder herself.
What? Wow.
By pushing him into a canal. Yeah. Okay.
This is this week?
Oh, come on. It gets better. Number three, a white New York woman in Central Park made a false call.
This was crazy.
To the police and claimed that a Black man was attacking and threatening her. And her dog. Whom she was choking, by the way.
Choking that dog to death.
All because he asked her to put a leash on the dog. Guess what happened to her? She lost her job.
She lost it, and she needed to.
She should.
And because here's the rule: the dog.
She should be brought up on charges.
She should for like falsely. She should. That man should sue him.
Yeah.
And let me.
And guess what he did? I'm sorry. He went on national TV and talked about how he doesn't feel like her life should have been turned upside down. I can't with Black people.
Okay, so let me say this.
Do what now?
Let me.
Yeah.
Which one is that?
Another.
No, that's not it.
Say do what's that now? Yeah. What?
Okay, so let me ask y'all a question, and I need answers.
Somebody answer this, please.
Why do Black people feel like we need to always assure white people that we love them after big racist acts or any racist act is done to us or our people?
I'm trying to understand.
Why do we feel like we need to assure them, well, all white people aren't bad and all cops aren't bad? So what? It's about us. It ain't about them. And why do you feel like you need to assure them that we love them? Because they ain't loving us.
We need to talk about the root of the problem. And see, that's the problem.
That's the problem.
The problem is that the narrative that Tasha was talking about when she called in is not built by us. You know why? Because we allow other people and other nationalities, okay, to come into our story and build it the way they want to. So what they do is they systematically. And psychologically get you off of the root of the issue.
Right.
And they have you start focusing on other things. Like, for instance, the looting and the protesting. They got us attacking each other on Facebook and social media about looting in our communities, but you're not paying attention to the problem and the reason why.
And can we talk about the bigger issue? This dude is charged, right? Then the judge has the nerve to give a murderer a bail.
I can't.
No, hold on. First of all, he's fired with pay.
Can't.
Or separated, but he has pay. He's getting paid right now. Your tax dollars are paying that police officer, okay? Our tax dollars are paying that police officer. That's number one. He's separate, and he doesn't get charged or have a warrant out for his arrest immediately. That's number one. Number two, they got to go through all this special prosecution to even charge him. And when they do charge him, what were the charges?
Third degree murder, second degree manslaughter. So what Josh said was right. How is it he only got charged with third degree murder? That's basically means they giving him a chance to plea to a lesser charge. If this man don't get life, they're not ready for what's going to happen. It's the truth. It is the truth. So let me finish. Let me just finish about what has happened this week.
So listen, everybody who's in one of our watch parties, I want y'all to come to our actual Gabbin with the Guilders podcast page. Come to that page.
Yeah, because y'all are making comments in our watch party, and we need them on the Gabbin with the Guilders podcast
page. Or you can call in
302-469-3311.
Let's go.
All right, so that was the third thing that happened. The white woman in Central Park, she lost her job. Fourth thing, police officers in Minneapolis arrested a black man, murdered him by keeping a knee on his neck. This is what we've all been talking about. This is George Floyd, right? He died soon after, and as a result, 4 officers were fired. And now we know that just one officer, the one that had the knee on his neck, was charged. So my question has been about what's happening to the other ones. And by the way,
it's conspiracy.
Just to recap, guess who Shavin is married to? Because his wife filed for divorce today. That was the second thing that I saw on social media. Oh, wow.
His wife filed for divorce?
His wife filed for divorce. And guess what?
What?
She's Asian. And guess whose sister she is? The Asian cop
who was
trying to block the pedestrians
and like making a joke about
the bystanders.
He was making a joke. He was like, yeah, just don't do drugs. This is what, if he can talk, he can breathe.
God.
He'll look at me like, see, he's talking, he's breathing.
Okay, and in the midst of all this George Floyd stuff, check this out. Same state. A Minnesota man that called the cops
you're on the right page, Mom.
Black young adults because he didn't think they belonged in the WeWork gym. His lease was terminated.
It needs to be.
I don't understand.
What about Breonna? Did you get Breonna Taylor?
No, that was just what happened this week. Oh, okay. However, Breonna Taylor, who happens to be in the medical field. She's an EMT. Was sitting in her house. Yeah.
No, this is crazy.
In her house and was killed by police.
Because they showed up to the wrong house and she was sleeping and answered the door.
To the wrong house.
And they came in guns a-blazing.
And killed her dead.
Wow.
And guess what? Ain't nobody talking about it.
You know what, Mom? You brought up a good point. Right. Our tax dollars are paying for him so he can pay bills and the innocent can't work. Ain't that something?
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good point, Michael.
Okay.
I also saw that Floyd and the cop have worked together before as club security. You're absolutely right.
Stop playing.
Yes, that's true. Yes.
I did not know.
Yes. And listen, if you have commentary to add to this, because we need to know these things. Our community needs to know the real news. Okay. We're not news reporters. We just talk about stuff. We gab, okay? We're just gabbing. And if you want to call in 302-469-3311.
We just rehashing what we saw.
And listen, I want to know how you feel.
I do too.
We want to know how you feel. This might be a longer podcast than normal. We normally try to keep it to an hour, but this might be a little longer because we want to know how our listeners feel.
So let's just update you. So, we know everybody is protesting. There's been some riots.
Yeah.
Okay. But since the the murderer has been charged with 3rd-degree murder, 2nd-degree manslaughter,
bogus
they decided
charges
to do an autopsy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And let's see what the quote was from
the coroner.
And I quote, "The autopsy revealed no physical findings that support a diagnosis of traumatic asphyxia or strangulation. Mr. Floyd had underlying health conditions, including coronary artery disease and hypertensive heart disease. The combined effects of Mr. Floyd being restrained by the police, his underlying health conditions, and any potential intoxicants in his system likely contributed to his death."
Say, what's that now?
What? Yo, we saw,
and I heard this afternoon, before we came on, that his family and the attorneys have already enlisted a independent autopsy.
They got to. They have to, because they all work for the same system.
I just don't understand. I
do. I understand. You know what it's called? It's called systematic racism. It's called white supremacy. And guess what? Sorry to say this, but most of us have a white supremacist mindset. We do. It's not our fault.
It's not our fault.
Many of us are going, and let me tell you how even when it comes to civil rights, Dr. King wasn't moving as fast as he should have with civil rights until people saw Bloody Sunday on national TV.
It's true.
When they saw black people getting punched in the face by police officers and hit and women and kids getting, hit with nightsticks and punched in the face and getting boulders and rocks thrown at them. Mm-hmm. That's when things started to change. Mm-hmm. And I hate to say that. I hate to say this, but this is the kind of stuff that needs to happen in order for change to happen in America. Mm-hmm. Because that's the only way that things change, is when everybody sees it.
Yeah.
Because if nobody sees what happens, and people always talking about camera phones, this and this and that and other. Let me tell you something. Camera phones are bringing awareness, and technology is bringing awareness to things that we haven't seen.
That's right.
And to the things that we should be seeing.
Absolutely.
Listen, the system is jacked up, and the system is not for black people.
Somebody put on Facebook last night, Lord help me for my heart to remain clean. And that thing hit me so hard. It hit me so hard because as believers, and the fact that we are leaders, you're a pastor, I'm a first lady, it's very difficult to combat hate that can so easily creep into your heart. So easily, because when you see the disadvantages and the murder and the brutality that is happening to your people, it is very hard to remain loving.
All right, and this is why I'm gonna play something for you. I'm gonna play a video I saw. I'm just gonna play the audio of it.
Okay.
Going on. Because once again, the police has failed to protect us like they say they was going to do. Us as a community, we're not going to protect ourselves, but if we don't have anyone to protect us, then this is what you get. You get riots. You got people out here going crazy. We losing loved ones every day to the people that's sworn in to protect us. It's not us. It's the police. This the madness that they spark up. This is what they encourage. This is what they provoke. This is what you get out of you taking a loved one from someone. This is what you get. You get a lot of people that's hurt, and they can't vent the right way. They can't no longer depend on the police to be here to protect us like they say they gonna do. So this is what you get. And no, it's not going to end today. I can't tell you it's going to end tomorrow. I don't know when it's going to end. But it's for y'all to start. We're not the ones that's killing us. Y'all killing us. We can't make a change if y'all don't change.
Did y'all hear the pain? That's a kid. That's a teenage little boy. And what's behind him is his community burning and looting on the streets. And yo, let me keep on saying this. All my white friends and all my black friends, you should delete and block me if you don't like what's going on my page.
Please do. That includes me.
Because right now, my people are hurting.
Yes.
Y'all sleeping good at night.
Absolutely.
Because you don't got to worry about police killing your kids.
That's the truth.
Killing your uncle, killing your mother, killing your father, killing your sister, killing your brother, killing your cousins, your nieces and nephews. You don't got to worry about that. Every day when I walk out my house, and I've been feeling like this a long time, I feel a certain type of way. Do you know how? Let me tell you. You know want to know one of the scariest moments in a black man's life is when you see red and blue lights behind you.
Yep.
I have been with my wife driving in my truck, and a cop is riding fast, and I automatically, and she'd touch my chest. She'd be like, "I'm sorry, baby, it ain't for you." And guess what? I ain't got nothing wrong going on.
But you get paranoid.
Because all you see. Police officers ask you for your ID. You can't even reach for your wallet. They'll think you about to pull out something. They draw their gun on you. They draw your gun. They be like, ID. Do you know I changed my whole life up? I started putting my ID in my visor when I got in my car. Everything is in my visor now. I had to change my whole life up.
Yeah. Yep. And as a wife to this black man, I worry about him every time he walks out the door. If he has anywhere to go, it could be just to Walmart. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all.
It's like that.
I don't even want him to go by himself. I make it my business to go with him. And it's not about, not trusting him or anything.
Man, that's out the window.
No, that's stupid. Don't even go there. It's me being scared that something's going to happen to him and I'm not going to be there to see him, to be with him, to hold him up, to take up for him, to fight for him.
How about this to calm me down?
To calm him. That was my next thing, to calm you down. It's real, y'all. It's real. I'm married to a black man who happens to be over 6 feet tall and he's a big guy. Okay. And when a cop sees him,
they're threatened.
It's called threatened. This man got something. He's got he must got a gun.
Wow, look what
he
Gab
must be
just
selling
wrote.
drugs. He must be doing something. What did she say? Yeah, terrified.
I wake up every night to check on Hubert.
Don't even want him to leave the house. Come on, Gab. I'm with you. And let me tell you something. Yes, I have white family, blood relatives.
She's mixed.
I'm mixed. But let me tell y'all something. And I love my family. I love everyone. But what's right is right. And what's wrong is wrong. And I am a Christian. I am saved. Okay. Yes, I preach what I believe. But I also preach what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And so did Jesus. Let's be clear.
And then we got the nerve. Let me just say this. Then we got the nerve to have these punk preachers, right? I'm looking at it right now. This preacher, right?
Come on.
His name is Cheston. And the reason why I'm going to call his name out is because he decided to put it out on Facebook for the world to see. This dumb idiot, so-called preacher says, his name is Cheston R. McCrae. This dumb idiot says, God did not call me to protest. He called me to preach. What?
He's off.
Say, dude, what's that now?
Crazy.
What you mean? Listen, let me tell you something. Tomorrow's Pentecost, but I ain't preaching on Pentecost tomorrow.
I'm fine with it.
If you don't know what Pentecost is by now, guess what? You're gonna have to catch me some other time. Call me on my phone, and you know what I mean. I'm very happy. I love talking about the word of God to people randomly. I just don't preach on Sundays. I will do it every day because I love to educate people about the word of God.
Yeah.
But that ain't what I'm preaching on tomorrow.
Yeah.
I might touch on it. I might talk about it a little bit, but that ain't gonna be the focal point of my message. Because the reality of what's going on.
Yeah.
Yo, we got mothers that with sons that are scared to let their sons go outside to play.
Yep.
I mean, because look, and not only are they killing black men, they're killing black women.
Yes, they are.
Oh, wow. My cousin Van. Look,
come on.
My cousin Van, he said, where's it at?
What did he say?
He said, family, I just drove to the dump, was on 100, keeping watch.
Ain't that something?
And then he says, I also carry. So that's
another issue.
And thank you, because I do.
Yep.
I literally stopped carrying my gun.
Yeah.
And I'm allowed to.
Right.
And I stopped because I was like, you know what? They see a gun. That's going to give them a reason to shoot.
Yeah. So I just want to finish what I was saying.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay. It's okay. Listen, we're all on 1,000, and you don't have to say sorry.
Imani, why don't you come to the page?
Can you please come to the page, Imani?
So,
because you're in a watch party.
So
we need you on the page. Everybody.
Look what she says. It's so scary to be married to a black man, especially in the South. My husband runs. Brunswick is 45 minutes away from my house.
Well, and another thing about her husband is he's in the military.
Yes, he is.
Which means he has military training.
Yeah, he's a trained.
I'm sure
trained.
he's
trained.
He's
just trained.
He's trained. So what I was trying to get to about my white family and white people, period. I want to say this, and the sad part is that we have to keep saying this. There's no reason why we have to keep saying that everybody's not bad. I'm gonna stop talking about white, black, and all that. Everybody's not bad.
Well, why do we gotta say that?
But that's the problem, that we have to say it. It's a problem that we have to say. But what I wanted to say is that the only way that we can get to the place that we need to get to in America is if white people stand up and unify with black people.
Yeah, that's the way.
That is the only way you can do it.
That's the way it has to be.
Let's just be honest. And you can't hide behind the shadows. You can't sit in your houses and say, well, I got black family and I got black best friends.
I got white friends. I got black friends.
It doesn't matter, y'all, if you're not saying nothing. It doesn't matter if you're not taking up for us. It doesn't matter if you're not on the front line. It doesn't matter if you don't vote for the right people to go into office so that these policies and these bills can be passed and changed. Civil rights means nothing if you're not on the front line trying to defend.
Human rights means nothing.
Human rights means nothing if you're not defending us.
Right.
Let's just be honest. And yes, I love everyone. Everyone.
We do.
But what's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong. And we have no compassion. That's the problem. You have no compassion, and we have been brainwashed to believe all of these things that have been happening since we were born. It is history repeating itself. That's all it is.
I forgot what it's called, right? I forgot what syndrome it is, but it says when, and I just want to just bring a point out. They say when we start like with these videos and watching people die, we watch it enough times, it starts to become normal.
Yes.
And it normalizes in us, and we think it's supposed to happen. My cousin just put up something good in the chat.
It's true.
He says the black community is 13% of the population, and it is. And it's a shame that more black people get killed by police than any other race.
Thanks, Imani.
She finally found the page.
She finally found the page.
Look at that.
But yeah, you're right. The black community is 13% of the population.
It went up. It used to be 10.
Isn't that amazing, y'all? Think about that.
Think about in the U.S.
In the United States of America, we only make up 13% of the population.
That's because they would breed us to kill us.
Yeah.
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 They brought just enough people over here.
And you know what else I'm sick of?
What?
I'm sick of hearing about this black on black crime.
Black on black crime is a narrative.
I'm so tired.
It's an incorrect narrative.
I'm so tired.
Let me just
tired.
So let me explain it.
I'm just tired.
Or do you want to explain it?
No, you go ahead.
Okay, so here's the thing about black on black crime. It's funny that black on black crime is the only kind of crime that you hear about when it comes from people killing people. We never hear about white on white crime. Christ. We never hear about Asian on Asian crime. We never hear about Puerto Rican on Puerto Rican crime. We never hear about Mexican on Mexican crime. We never hear about African on African crime. We never hear about what's some more Turkish on Turkish crime, Italian on Italian crime. We never hear about any of those. You just hear about black on black crime. Ask me why. Thank you. I'll tell you. It's because the people you hang around and who you're in close proximity with are the people that you will ultimately have altercation with. And then if the altercation goes too far, you will somebody might be killed.
Right.
It's about close proximity. If you hang around nothing but black people, the person that gets killed 9 times out of 10 is going to be what? Black.
There you go.
If white people kill more white people, but we don't hear white on white crime.
That's just like, okay. You know what else happened this week?
I was about to say, can I use?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if this is the one, but here it is.
Yes, that's it.
That's the one.
Yep.
A Yukon college student.
Come on.
Killed 2.
Jesus.
Kidnapped 1. And they gave that joker a drink of water.
Show the picture. Can you show the picture?
I don't got the picture.
Oh,
gave him a drink of water.
Yo, they captured him. Now, mind you, he went on a killing spree. All right.
Killing spree.
He murdered people. We don't even know. Here, this is the thing.
Yo, that's good, Gabby. The only time I'm about to put it up. The only time you hear
a mass shooting. That's the truth. When you hear about white on white crime is if it's a mass shooting. That is so true. Now listen to this.
In a white neighborhood.
This same week that George Floyd was murdered by white police officers, this white boy who's a college student went on a murdering spree.
Didn't he?
Okay. When he felt that it got too hot for him, he went on the run. When they found out who he was, he went on the run. And for several days, while all of this George Floyd stuff was going on, he was then captured in Maryland. I think just yesterday.
You know what? I got the picture. I'm gonna be.
Was it just yesterday? I think
a couple days ago.
Okay. He got captured. Mind you, what I said. Did y'all hear the word I used? Captured. He wasn't gunned down.
They found him.
They handcuffed him. They let him sit on the ground, laying up against the cop truck so he could relax himself. And they gave him.
Hold on, I'm about to put it up because they need to see this.
A drink of water.
They gave him water to quench his thirst.
Quench his thirst. That's what they gave him, y'all.
I'm so sorry you kill people when you're thirsty.
But George Floyd said, I can't breathe.
He called on his mom.
I can't breathe, and he called on his mom.
Hold on, I'm about to show you this picture. This is gonna mess you up. This is gonna really.
This boy was captured, y'all. Captured by police after he's murdered. And I would venture to say they might have been white people because they're not telling us who he murdered. Yeah, they haven't released it.
I think
they have not released it, y'all. Now
true.
Listen, the narrative of what they allow us to see, okay? What the media and the nation allow us to see, okay? This boy was captured. I gotta say it again.
I'm on my way.
He was captured.
I'm trying to find a picture.
All right. They let him sit on the ground because he was so tired.
Yeah. From probably being restrained.
Because he was, he had been on the run for days.
Here it is. There he goes.
And look at here. They put chains on his feet with the holes in his socks, hands behind his back, laid him up against the back tire. The same type of back tire where our murderer here had his knee
on Mr.
Floyd's neck, but they gave the white boy a drink of water. Now y'all tell me, you pastors and you leaders and you people that say you're saved and you love God, tell me that you are not outraged by this picture. Outraged. You have to be outraged. You have to know that there's a problem.
There is a problem.
You have to know and you have to admit that there is a problem.
This is called systematic racism. Dylan Roof got Burger King after coming to worship in Here's the thing about the Dylan Roof thing. Me and my wife and I, we were in Charleston, South Carolina. in the middle of Bishop Neil Ellis preaching, we were at the Life Center convocation. Bishop Brian Moore throws a convocation every year. It's dope. Life Center convocation. In the middle of Bishop Neil Ellis's message, we see police everywhere.
Let me tell y'all something.
We were on the front. We were on the front row, mind you.
Row.
We were on the front row. We saw them come in to get Bishop while Bishop Moore was getting prayer. He was receiving prayer from Bishop Ellis, and in the midst of the prayer, they literally grab him. And after prayer's over, they literally say, y'all got to leave because there is a
mass shooting, a murderer,
on the run, a mass murderer on the run.
And then they told us what happened.
And they literally, and we got, this is crazy. It hits different for us because when do you go to your house, to the house of worship and have to get escorted back to your car by a sheriff?
And let me tell you, not only did they do that, but they actually almost walked us down the road.
Literally.
And literally followed us
all the way back to our hotel.
They asked, what hotels were you going to? And when we got to those hotels,
it was somebody already there.
It was somebody already there. Let me tell y'all something. It was like being inside of a movie. I had never in my life experienced such terror.
Yeah,
in my heart.
And then after they found Dylan
days, like a couple days went by. No, it was the next day.
Next day,
we were in class at the church,
and then we had
and there were still cops there at the church.
At the church, right?
And we had lunch break. We came back, and the first thing they told us was that he was captured.
Yeah,
but what did they do with him? They captured him.
They got him. They captured him. They ain't shooting. They ain't killing. They gave his.
Hey, you know what else they did?
Gave him Burger King.
No. They put a bulletproof vest
on him. Yes, they did.
And then they gave him Burger King.
Now
y'all can't tell me that ain't nothing wrong.
Oh wow! Listen to this. Okay, we got some good comments.
Imani says something good too.
Hold on, look at Van.
Let's go back.
Van says, I seen that he was sitting
on the ground.
That was good.
Yeah, not tackled, not with a knee on his neck.
No,
just sitting.
And if you look at the picture, it looks like he been through something.
Child,
hold on, let me go back to the picture.
He had lost his shoes and everything.
Hold on, let me go back to this picture. Look at that.
It was powerful.
He got holes all in his socks. His pants are ripped up, mud everywhere, and he's been on his stomach because he's red.
Yes,
Zach
he was crawling.
I don't know if his name is Zach or not, but he got Zach on his chest. So let's get.
Oh, and the officer actually bent down and gave him a cool
drink
bottle of water.
Ain't that something? What's this? I mean, my sister Imani says, I mean, if we're going to be honest, when they do it, it's glamorized. They get documentaries, Netflix series, Tiger King, Ted Bundy.
Oh my God!
You know what? You saying something?
Yeah.
And look, and his mother is dead. That just shows he knew what his fate was going to be.
Ain't that something?
Oh Lord, here it is, Michael. You gonna get shot at?
Come on here.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, yeah, it's the truth.
Well,
listen, let me tell you something. Let me be clear. You come up to my church while I'm preaching.
Baby, listen.
Our church has 3 principles, and the first one I'm gonna talk about is called safeguard. It's my job to safeguard the members at the ministry in our ministry, the people that I serve, all our partners. Let me tell you, if I'm at the podium and I see you coming with a gun, just know I won't be preaching. I'll be pulling the trigger, and I'm pretty good with it. Emmanuel Moore been teaching me how to shoot. Right, and ice water at that. Ain't that something? What Gab say? Hubert said, what are
white?
Hold on. Oh.
I think she means white people, or like the farmer, and we are the cows slaughtering us. It's like
it's a normal day. Preem would say something like that. And you're absolutely right, Preem.
It's the truth.
But this is what we're talking about. I mean, there was so much that went on. And let me say this. And let me just
If anybody wants to call,
if you want to call in, please call in. Please call in.
Please call.
We're answering
Please
all
call.
calls.
We want to hear what you have to say.
302-469-3311.
Please call in.
Please call in, and we want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
We want to know how you're handling it. If you just need to vent because you feel like you're going crazy, and I don't say that dismissively.
No, not at all.
Because
we're all outraged,
and we've been. And here, let me tell you. And this, can I tell you what really is bugging me out right now?
Yeah,
is the fact that man, for me, it's like, yo, Corona is here.
I was just about to get back to that. You definitely are reading my mind, because my whole thing is that, listen, y'all, a big part of the narrative is that we were already in a state of confusion. Right. Let's just be honest about it. Let's be very honest.
White privilege. That's right, Onetta. I don't know who you are, but you can come to our Gabbin with the Gilders podcast page, so I can see all your comments, and I can put them on the screen if you go to that page.
And what was I gonna say? We were talking about COVID. Okay, let me pin that, because I have a white cousin that made a post today, and she is married to my black cousin, and they have an interracial child like I am. And I really appreciated what she said. The problem that I have with it is that she's one out of a gazillion, right? We need all white people to stand up for us. Yeah. We need all white people to admit that they have white privilege, that they live in it. Even when you're married to a black man, you still have it.
Absolutely.
And that's what she said in her post. And that's what I liked about her post. What I liked about her post is that she was very clear at her position. She was clear that she's married to a black man and she has a black daughter. Now, she called her biracial. I call her black because I consider myself to be black.
Listen, we need to listen to this.
Okay. Hold on. Let me just finish this. And then what she said was that even though she's married to them and she loves them, she also knows that she still has privilege.
This is the family of George Floyd. It's breaking news.
A moment
all right,
in time,
let's do it.
When you hear all of the video and the people pleading, he can't breathe, and
no, can't hear it.
Somebody left here.
Brandon, I apologize to you, but I've been told that this is a 2-year moment of the loss of.
Can't hear it, honey.
At all?
No.
Today.
It's not in my ears at all.
Detroit. Oh, okay, I know who this is. Hold on one second.
Who is that? Huh?
Who is it?
Whether or not we understand it, you'll never forget where you were.
Oh, 1 second.
During the Minnesota riot. Not only will you never forget it, but this will be a day.
This is a
that
recording.
Your children.
This is a recording.
Also recording.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying to you is seek an understanding that he was calling out for his mama, who I'm told
it's not working.
It is working.
Just live for this.
Can y'all hear?
House Judiciary Committee.
I can't hear anything.
And I want this family to know.
Well, it's a lot of news that's coming out.
Okay. So anyway, like I was saying, that's what needs to be said. What needs to be said and admitted is the privilege that's going on in the world.
Right.
Okay. So we were already in a state of confusion. Let's get back to COVID-19. We were already in a state of confusion. As Van said earlier, the Black community is only 13% of the population. However, if you all have been paying attention to the news, we are about somewhere around 40% of the population that is dying from COVID. So how is it that we are only 13% of the overall population? Okay. But we're 40% of the population that is dying from COVID. So while we're out protesting and we're doing all of these things, we still need to be mindful that we need to protect ourselves. And that was one of the things that I thought about as well, that, hey, look at this narrative. Now that we were already confused about COVID, we don't know what's going on. We don't even know if the numbers are true. There are several counties that, aren't reporting valid information because there's no testing available and all those things that we know is true. And we don't know what's going on in the world totally when it comes to COVID, where it came from, how it's here, all those things, all the conspiracy theories. But yet, we're 40% of the people that's dying from it.
Yeah.
And we still don't know a whole lot about it. We have got to be careful, y'all. And again, the media is all over George Floyd and has been for the last week, since Tuesday when it happened. But yet, I'm not hearing a whole bunch about Corona.
Yeah.
Are you?
Well, what we do have,
okay.
What we do have is a pastor in in Delaware, state of Delaware. His name is Reverend Bullock, I think his name is.
Yeah.
I don't know him too well. I think Nina grew
Reverend
up around.
Bullock.
He is literally.
I don't know him personally. I just know of him, and I know the church.
And we have to talk about it. I want to talk about this.
Let's talk about it.
I really want to talk about this. Where is it at? Where's the article? Here it is. It's coming up.
If some of you don't know, Pastor Bullock of isn't it Canaan?
I think so.
I think it's Canaan Baptist Church. He's out on Newcastle Avenue. It's the real big, pretty church that's in the parking lot where Bolarama is, if you're familiar with the Newcastle area. He filed a lawsuit against Governor Carney because he did not like the restrictions.
Right. Attorneys for Bullock asked Connolly to allow Bullock to hold church services this Sunday, which is Pentecost Sunday in the Christian church, without the limitations mandated by the governor.
Now, mind you, you could hold more service from last Sunday, right?
Go ahead and read that.
You want me to read it?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, because I think, go ahead.
Yeah.
Just go ahead.
Okay.
I was going to read it, but go ahead. So, because everything that you're about to say, I think is going to be no two paragraphs.
So, Carney in March ordered that worship services be limited to no more than 10 people. A restriction he did not impose at the time on more than 230 other business and industry entities deemed essential. Amid increasing criticism, Carney issued a revised emergency declaration last week, allowing churches to choose between abiding by the 10-person limit or allowing attendance of up to 30% of stated fire occupancy.
And that's crazy too.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
But only if they complied with several conditions dictating how worship services could be held. Those conditions included requiring the use of face masks and gloves and banning person-to-person communion, physical contact during baptisms, and prohibiting the use of choirs, handheld microphones, and holy water receptacles. Churches also were told to deny entry to anyone 65 years or older.
Yeah, share this with your friends.
After Bullock filed this lawsuit last week, Carney withdrew some of the restrictions and revised others. The current limitations include requiring worship leaders and singers to wear masks or face shields when speaking or singing. If they are unable to do so, the state suggests they should turn their backs to the congregation. Deputy Attorney General Allison McCowan noted that a preacher who did not want to wear a face mask when delivering his sermon also has the option of increasing the distance between himself and the congregation beyond the 6-foot rule. Under questioning from Connolly, McCowan acknowledged that the state has issued specific guidance that applies only to communities of worship, but she noted that most of those guidelines also apply more generally to secular entities. In addition to wearing the mask by worship leaders, state officials have issued directives on the preparation and distribution of blessed food or drink. They also say a pastor should not hold a candidate for baptism and that ushers should not pass around collection plates. They added that interference is clearly unconstitutional. A restraining order is needed so that houses of worship do not continue to be treated differently from secular entities. While acknowledging that the case raises important issues that need to be addressed, the judge expressed frustration about being asked to rule with only a few days' notice on a restraining order.
He should be frustrated.
Yeah. The right to exercise religion and to prevent the state from establishing a religion are fundamental. You don't get any more fundamental, Connolly added. They're so important that it concerns me that I have to opine on them under hurried circumstances. He noted that he filed the lawsuit only after he sent a letter to Carney more than 2 weeks ago, telling him his restrictions were unconstitutional and offering to help draft constitutional regulations. Carney instead issued new regulations on worship services that led to the filing of the lawsuit.
I haven't seen what came of this lawsuit though. Like, what did the judge say? But here we have a black man, a black pastor in the city of Newcastle, or is it a city or a town?
No,
city of Newcastle.
City.
He has a church, I believe, it's on Newcastle Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
Newcastle Avenue, Canaan Baptist. And from reports before, this man said he went to Target to get some items. He saw members there.
That's how it all started.
I'm just telling you what he said. This is how it started. And because he saw members there, he said, well, if you can come to Target, you should be able to come to church. Church worship.
Oh, God.
Church worship is essential.
Oh, God.
Last time I checked, everything that we needed to worship God, we have it already.
Yeah, because it's on the inside of you.
Now, this man wants to put,
my Lord,
wants to have church at capacity. Wants to have, I don't want to say church, but he wants to have
worship service,
a service at capacity in his church, in the church building on Pentecost Sunday, which was not a lot of times one of the biggest services of the year. Like Mother's Day, Easter, and Pentecost are really big in churches.
Christmas,
not Christmas so much, but yeah,
that's what they do. Those are big services.
Big services. He wants to open his membership up. And the crazy thing is, COVID-19 cases are going up in Delaware.
This is what I'm talking about, the narrative. Because of everything that's happening in the world, all the riots, everything that's going on with racism, because it's huge right now, and we should be focused on it. We also need to remain focused on COVID-19.
He wants people to come to church service so he can preach to them. They can have service together, and he wants all the restrictions to be, I guess, the restrictions to be down. He says, but if they can go to Target, well, then they can come to church.
And here's the thing. Let's just be clear.
How do you feel about that?
Church, the houses of worship have always been deemed essential from the beginning.
From jump.
When we
how about this one? All religious organizations, not just.
I said houses of worship. Right. It's the same thing.
But I just wanted to say that because some people think the only house of worship is the Christian church, but
no, that's not true.
All religious organizations have been deemed
essential from the beginning. When we first went on lockdown, which was March the 23rd or 24th, and the list came out of what was essential. Houses of worship, temples, all religious organizations were deemed essential. It's just that he gave restrictions.
And I think they were necessary.
And they are necessary, not were. They are necessary.
3 hours ago, federal judge denies requests to more broadly open Delaware churches. Thank you.
So thank you, Judge. Thank you. See, here's the problem that I have with it. And I hate to say this, but this is how I'm going to feel, because this is the first thing that came up into my mind. And I'm sure some of you that are still on watching us are going to feel the same way. That man ain't worried about their souls. He's worried about their pockets.
He can't be.
He cannot be worried about their souls, because if you are worried about your flock souls, then you would have no problem complying. And let's just be clear. You ain't complying to the state or the governor. You're complying to God.
And here's the thing. As pastors,
come on, y'all.
It is our job as pastors to care for our sheep.
You are supposed to care more about them.
Yes.
Than any dollar that they put in your offering plate.
You care about the people you serve, and caring about the people. Because my thing is, what happens when you if they would have let him open up, God forbid, for Pentecost, and his church is packed,
and somebody dies,
and a COVID outbreak happens inside of his.
Because here's what you got to remember.
Because it has happened before. It's happened all over.
Well, it has happened in several houses of worship and religious organizations.
Yes.
Let's just be clear. The only thing that the news media focuses on is the Christian religion. We ain't heard about no Muslims catching COVID. I ain't heard about the Jewish people catching COVID. I ain't heard about none of that. Now, maybe I'm missing it. Maybe I ain't see some news reports or something. But every news report that has come out, it's been white evangelicals or some black pastor that is mad about the restrictions. And let me tell you, you ain't hearing God.
Because this is what he says.
Let's just be clear.
Bullock argued that churches are needed now more than ever. Well, guess what? We never went anywhere.
We didn't go anywhere. And see, that's the problem. We've been taught wrong. We've been taught that church is the four walls. And we've talked about this on our other platform. We have not been taught that the church is inside of you. You just go to
when you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior.
You just go to a building that you consider church to fellowship among other believers to gain strength from them. But here's the problem. There's not enough testing. There's not enough testing.
Not even close.
There's not enough testing, y'all. Some of us sitting right here watching this live right now could have COVID-19 and not even know it.
Asymptomatic.
It's called asymptomatic. We've got to educate ourselves. We have to educate ourselves. We have to educate ourselves. Okay.
So what happens? COVID outbreaks in his church, right? Breaks out in his church. And 4 people pass away in 1 week. And then 20 other members are in ICU in Christiana care. What happens? What do you say? What do you say to those 4 families?
I don't know. We need to ask him because I wouldn't know what to say.
You know, I
would be so guilty.
I'm gonna tell you what, because a person that does something like that, I'm gonna tell you what they say.
Mm-hmm.
It was the will of the Lord.
It was the will of the Lord. Yep, that's what they say.
I think that's a good place to end.
That is a good place to end.
Well, look,
we love y'all.
We love y'all.
Thank y'all so much for tuning in.
And I'm gonna play a song. I know I probably shouldn't play it, but it's at the end, so I mean I can cut it.
Appreciate y'all tuning in. Listen, we're here every week, every Saturday with Gabbin with the Guilders.
Yeah, we might push a weekday.
We're still working on that, but prayerfully we'll have something else to talk about next week. But this was such a hot topic, and all I can tell everybody is, be truthful, be honest, be transparent, be accountable.
Be accountable.
And love everybody.
Love everybody. And look, another thing we want to tell you, stay in the freaking house, man. Look, don't be, what I mean by that is, don't be around a whole bunch of people. You know what I mean? Like these protests, they're warranted, but if you got conditions and stuff, like you gotta be smart too. Okay?
And if you are gonna protest, protect yourself.
Protect yourself. Put that mask on. I can't tell you what to do. And I mean, we're in a really tough time where it's a lot of I don't knows, right?
Yeah.
But what I will say is protect yourself. And just protect yourself. I want you to protect yourself, man. Protect yourself. I really do want you to protect yourself. And I just want to let everybody know that the Guilders love you. So thank you.
Y'all.
Thank you for gabbing with us on your favorite podcast of your favorite married couple. We love you. And look, if you want to support the podcast, you want to support our podcast,
hit us up.
Hit us up.
Hit us up.
Hit us up, man. Get your followers to come like our page and follow us on all our platforms.
Yeah.
We're Gabbin with the Guilders Gabbin with the Guilders podcast on Facebook. On Instagram, it's at Gabbin Guilders. Twitter at Gabbin Guilders. Our email is Gabbin Guilders at gmail.com. So Gabbin Guilders gmail.com. And if you want to support the podcast and drop us a couple coins to further the podcast and further production, listen, $, Gabbin Guilders, GABBINGILDER. And this is Wale Sue Me. We out. We love you.
Sue me, I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Spent about 2 racks on handmade do rags. Sue me, I'm rooting for everybody that's black. That's everybody from sports to college class to rap and back.